Hey everyone, so today's video is going to be a get ready with me, and I am going to be doing some first impressions on some of the products that I featured in my haul, which was not my last video, but the video before that. So if you haven't seen it, I will link it down below. So because there are so many products, I'm just going to do a bunch of first impressions crammed into one. I do these sometimes, the get ready with me first impressions, and you guys do like them, so that is what we are going to be doing today. Okay, so first things first, let's prime our face. I'm just gonna be using the Monistat primer. This is like my everyday primer. It's really inexpensive and it works well, so there's that. Oh, my skin has had like a ton of the little bumps and they're like all over my forehead. For foundation, I'm gonna be using the Covergirl Outlast Stay Luminous. This is a new-ish drugstore foundation. I'm going to apply with my beauty blender because that's usually my favorite method for foundation. For those of you that are wondering, I have the color 842, which is a medium beige. Should be a good match, we'll see. I really liked the 3-in-1, but it was just very drying, and even though I do have oily skin, I don't like super matte drying foundations. You guys know this, you watch my videos. The finish does look very luminous upon first applying it, so we'll see how it looks once it sets in and really meshes in with my skin. I don't really see much coverage. So I'm saying that like it's a question. I don't see a lot of coverage. That in fact was a statement. So I'm gonna try to build this up a little bit more. I don't like to wear a lot of foundation. So if I'm gonna need like 2 layers of this isn't the foundation for me. I'll go in with a little more, just a tiny bit, like just like that much. So while this is setting in, I don't think I have any new concealers to try. So I'm just gonna go ahead in with my Master Conceal by Maybelline. This is like my favorite drugstore concealer. It's really, really good. The foundation what? So far this foundation's okay. It still feels very tacky, and it's been about, I don't know, like 5 minutes since I've applied it, and I just don't like when things feel wet on my skin. So that's my biggest issue with it right now. The color seems to be good for me, and the coverage is okay. I'd probably say it's about, I don't know, like late to medium coverage. Definitely not as much as the 3-in-1. So to set the foundation, I'm going to be using my LA Colors Mineral Pressed Powder. Okay, so now that we've set that, I'm going to go ahead and fill in my brows. You guys have seen this a ton of times before, so I'm just going to go ahead and skip this part, but I'm using my pomade by Anastasia, and this is the shade Soft Brown. And then for the brush, I'm going to be using my e.l.f. Eyebrow Duo Brush. Okay, so the brows are filled in. The Prism eyeshadow palette from e.l.f., some of you guys were interested in seeing, so maybe I'll use this. Maybe I'll use a little bit of both. Alright. Okay, that works. Damn it, I just realized I was not recording. All I did though was apply the e.l.f. eyelid primer, and then over top of that I used the Mica Beauty Cosmetics primer, which is kind of like a paint pot. It's just a skin toned color primer, and now I'm just going to set that with my face powder. I always like to go over the primers with a powder. I feel like if I go into my transition shade first, because the primer is so sticky, I find it actually more difficult to blend. Let's go ahead into the Prism palette here. I think I'm going to go for this shade all over the lid, and I'll just use my finger for that. The shadows feel very creamy. Oh, this is a really pretty rose gold color. This is really nice. Do we want to do something crazy colorful? I don't know. All right, maybe let's go for it. For the outer corner, let's go in with this purple. Okay, so there's not a ton of pigmentation in this purple, so instead of going in and blending, I'm just gonna go in and stamp it. Okay, so we have stamped the purple on. I'm just gonna go in with the same brush we used for the all over lid color and just blend out the edges. So if you do have this palette or you do like the colors of this palette and still want to get it, maybe try a dark or a black base under the purple for the ultimate pop. I'm going to go back in with a little bit more purple since we blended it out. And then to bridge the purple and the rose gold together, I'm going to go into this shade right here. I do want an inner corner and brow bone highlight, but I want them to be matte because we do have so much shimmer going on. So I'm going to go into my new Dude palette and take the color Fearless. And then to ground this look a bit, I'm going to go into the color Friendly. So I'll go in with Friendly on my lower lash line, just on like the outer third maybe. I don't want to bring it in too far. So we have another new product to try, and this is the CoverGirl, the Super Sizer Mascara. I've seen a ton of people post videos about it, but I haven't watched them. I don't want to be persuaded by them, so I haven't heard anything about it yet. It seems to be thicker at the outer tip and then thinner as we go in. I feel like these bristles, because they are very, very small, not really separating that well, so it's kind of giving me a clumpy look. Okay, so this is coat number 1. It is supposed to be a volume mascara, so maybe when they say volume, they just mean clumpy as hell. I'm actually gonna go through with this CoverGirl Full Lash Bloom Mascara. I don't know, I don't really love it, but I feel like it's almost like the Clump Crusher minus the scooped wand, and I just feel like it doesn't really do anything for my lashes. It's okay, it's not bad, but hopefully this will separate. The result isn't bad. The volume is really great when you finally go through and comb it out, so that's a plus, but they're okay. So another new product, this is the e.l.f. Contouring Blush and Bronzing Powder. I'm gonna go in with the bronzer just to bronze and contour a bit. It's easy enough to work with, blends out nicely. Okay, this foundation is getting way too oily and greasy, so I'm gonna have to set it with a mattifying powder. So I want to use this Balm Desert Bronzer slash Blush product. This has that like kind of pinky mauvey bronze. I feel like this is so much better served as a blush than it is a bronzer, just because I feel like it's a little bit too pink. I wouldn't wear it as the only bronzer, but kind of like how I did it today. So for the lips, I'm going to try this e.l.f. matte lip color in the color Natural. Okay, so we are done with the makeup. I kind of went through a little bit, told you what I thought as I was applying it. So I'm going to leave all my final thoughts for the end of the day. So I will be back and I will let you know what I thought of everything. Hey guys, so I am back with an update. It has been about 4 hours since I first applied the makeup. I did want to give you my thoughts now because I am heading out in a little bit and I may not get a chance to film it later, and I also have a pretty good idea of my thoughts on the products thus far. First of all, I just want to say it has taken everything inside of me not to powder myself for this video. I wanted to show you exactly what it looks like. I didn't think the foundation would be as greasy as it is. I know I have oily skin and it's a luminous finish foundation, but I don't know, I don't have problems with any other foundations like greasing up so much. And I think also one of the issues is that I felt like it never really set. So the whole time it was on my skin, even after I powdered it twice in the initial application, I felt like it was still tacky and sticky. For that reason, I think maybe people with very dry skin would appreciate that because it would feel maybe like hydration. You know what, there was a period about, I don't know, like 30 minutes after I applied it and I looked in the mirror and I was like, oh, my skin looks really good. And then from there, it just all went downhill. Unfortunately, as of right now, I'd say pass on this if you have oily skin. I do want to try to mix this maybe with the 3-in-1 to see if I'll get better staying power from that, because that one's too matte and this one is way too greasy. So maybe combining the both of them will give me what I am looking for. So as far as the lipstick goes, the e.l.f. matte lip color, I have been drinking, I have been eating. It definitely has faded a lot. So I wouldn't say this is a particularly long wearing lip color, but it hasn't completely disappeared either. Also, I find it very comfortable to wear. It's not drying, it's not super matte, but you kind of just like forget anything is on. So it's not like something that's super glossy and slippery and you're like, you constantly feel it on your lips, but you kind of just forget you're wearing something. But I do really like this color, and this is the color Natural. I'm gonna reapply now. I didn't want to reapply before I started this video or this update because I wanted you to see what it looked like. Okay, so as far as the mascara goes, I really didn't like it when I first applied it. It just felt like too clumpy. I felt like I had like 3 big lashes, but the more the day goes on, the more I actually kind of like how it looks. Now, I will say if you don't like clumpy lashes, you won't like this mascara. It does give good volume, and it's weird because even though it looks like I have less lashes, it still looks like I have a ton of volume. I don't know if that makes sense. The more I was wearing it and the more I was like catching myself in the mirror, I was like, oh, my eyelashes actually look like, it gives you that kind of like doe-eyed look. So I do like it for that reason. That being said, like I mentioned before, I think I'll like it a whole lot more once it does dry out, and I definitely feel like you need to pair it with another mascara. It definitely does not separate enough on its own. Okay guys, so those are my thoughts on some of my newer products. If there is anything that you saw in my haul that I did not talk about or did not use, be sure to tell me down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you found it helpful, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. I got the color 842 for any of those who are wondering. Actually, I don't even know if that's right. I haven't even like